Hi.
Hello,
You
Krista.
working? Hey,
So how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good, good. Just every day is a new day to face a little bit of OCD or a lot of OCD.
Mm,
Even in the best of times, there's some bit of it. This is Kristin Varela, and you are a stay-at-home mom, which I believe is one of the most honorable titles to
mm,
have.
thanks.
We met digitally in,
hmm
I think the group was called Living with OCD.
Something like that. It was like a podcast.
It was based on a podcast. Yeah.
Yeah,
This was like the first forum, first OCD group I had been a part of. I don't know if you could say
yeah,
the
me too.
same.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay. And it was just really helpful for me. I was in a previous relationship, and I have ROCD, relationship OCD. Uh,
hmm
it was just helpful to me to have people who I could talk to or people that related, people in my corner.
Yeah,
Uh, Did you find there was some kind of solace in that?
absolutely. I think just having like a community that understands what you're going through, you can like bounce questions off of is huge. And
Ugh.
even like I remember I started listening to this podcast because I was just like, I went into therapy and she was like, "Oh, so how long have you known you had OCD?" And I was like, I don't know. I didn't know I had it. And she was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I would approach this a little differently." Like it was so obvious to her,
Oh, wow,
and I had
really?
no idea. And it just like hit me hard, and I just
Mm.
needed to consume like whatever I could to like find something to relate to. And this podcast was so helpful because I would like find things that I'd be like, oh my gosh, I do that too. And I didn't know that was OCD. And then like helped me bring things up with my therapist and then just
Oh,
connected with people. We went to the OCD conference and like met people there. So that was really cool.
oh, that's amazing. I didn't do that. There's also
Yeah.
another podcast called OCD Stories that I've started to dive into.
Oh, nice.
It's really great. So my biggest question first is, what kind of OCD do you have or have you struggled with, if you'd like to share?
So I would say mostly it's kind of weird. I had like and I still deal with it. Meds have helped me a lot in therapy. So I feel like I'm more at like the managing stage of my OCD, like just managing it every day rather than like combating it. And like I'm not in therapy anymore, but I did like 2 to 3 years of ERP, like heavy therapy to get through a lot of stuff. But I would say my biggest theme of my OCD was safety. So I did a lot of like checking locks. I was very like hyper aware of my surroundings. I had a lot of intrusive thoughts about bad things happening, just like somebody breaking in or being like taken from somewhere or a car accident, or I just would have a lot of like intrusive thoughts. I also have a lot around like symmetry. Things have to be symmetrical. Things have to be kind of like perfect.
Mm. Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
struggled a lot with that, especially in school. That was really hard. But even just, I'll see in my day-to-day life, like I'm very exact about like my house and like the chairs at the dining room all have to be like symmetrical in the same places and just kind of weird things like that. And it'll take up some time like organizing and arranging, and I kind of get a little crazy about like, oh, I need to go to the container store and I need to measure my drawer and I need to have every single like container that fits the drawer and all the compartments and everything has to fit and be aligned and it has to be all symmetrical, and I can get into a rabbit hole doing that for sure. Uh,
Right. Because I feel like a lot of people use OCD loosely. It's like, oh, I'm very OCD, but
mhm.
that's when it's almost part of something they enjoy doing. The thing is, when it crosses over into the
Yeah,
I can't stop territory,
right,
then it's the
exactly.
rabbit hole. Then it's some. So, do you find that you would, when you would go too far and the managing was
Mhm.
kind of out the window, were you trying to prevent something bad from happening. Like
Mhm.
you say, harm OCD is kind of what you had.
Yeah, I do think I definitely had like some themes of hurting, specifically like my husband. Like if I had a hard time with knives for a long time, and just like chopping vegetables and stuff like that because I thought I was going to hurt somebody with a knife. And
Hmm.
then like the checking the locks where people are like, "Oh, this bothers me." But then it's like, "No, there's a place where you cannot let it go in your head and you get into this loop that you cannot get out of." With like the safety aspect, I kind of channeled that into like checking locks. And you get upstairs and you go, "Wait a second, did I check the locks?" And you go back down and check, and then get back upstairs. Well, maybe somebody, maybe the dog jumped up on the lock. I would come up with these ridiculous scenarios, like
Yeah.
jumped up on the lock right behind me, accidentally hit it, and now I need to go check it again. um
Yeah. The imagination of the mind. I mean, we're so
yes, like
smart,
this.
but we're too smart for our own good. Our brain
Totally. And like
creates.
the scenarios you can come up with are
Yeah.
they're just crazy. And like they are in the moment. And you're like, I
Oh,
know this is, but like
yeah.
how I can make all these possibilities happen. Um
Yeah.
Another
Oh, sorry. I
oh
was just gonna, do you feel like it makes you feel safer when things are like, all in their boxes? And does it relate to?
I think that it does for a second. And then
Well, yeah.
when when you step away from it, it's like it all starts to pick back up again. So that's where I had to start to like when I did ERP, it was like, okay, you have to sit with like the discomfort of like maybe it's not locked. Like,
Mm-hmm. It
you
may
know,
or may not be locked.
it
Yes.
may or may not.
Yeah.
And I have no control over it. Like, and just like sitting with that is um can be torturing.
Yes. That you said the operative word for a second. You feel
Hmm.
better, and then so
Yeah, you have that immediate relief and then it starts instantly back up again.
yes, you were getting to something before. I don't know if you lost the thread there after the
Oh,
dog jumping up and the.
I had just like these weird pockets of things that I consumed me. And at the time that I like sought therapy, I was having a hard time even leaving the house. Like I was
Mm,
definitely like borderline agoraphobic.
yeah.
Um, I just, everything felt like I was risking my life stepping outside my front door. Errands were just really hard. Like it just started to consume my life. And so that's when I realized like I needed to seek therapy. But I was gonna say one of my other like weird specific ones was about gas stations. They have all these warning labels all over the gas station. It's like, don't do this unattended, don't smoke, don't, and so
Hmm.
my brain went on this crazy train and I started to like only use a specific gas station, only a specific pump. And I had this whole ritual of like touching the metal to like de-static myself and like
Yeah.
leaving certain things in the car. And like I also like as I would come in and like pull in, I would have like all these intrusive thoughts of like um running into the pump and like with the car and like things exploding. And I was that just consumed me so much that I had like one safe gas station that I would maybe go to, and if I could talk myself into it. Otherwise I would have to have somebody else get gas for me because it just started to become like this whole thing. I have to touch the car, I have to do this, I have to like this whole ritual around like not exploding the whole place.
Yeah. Every time I start the car after putting gas in, I think, is it going to blow up? Yeah. No. I always touch the car because one time I was told, make sure you're not static.
I,
Yeah. Yeah. No. I relate to it in a little way. I have a little bit of the harm OCD, but my biggest is
uh-huh.
car OCD. So I haven't
Mhm.
like I've gotten trapped sometimes where I like keep getting up to check if the stoves, and I'm like, no, but is it off? And you just don't trust your judgment. It's strange. Well, before we move on to the next question, I'm just going to share a little snippet of a song from my musical Hiccups. The song is called Hiccups,
Mhm. I love that.
and it's related to the idea. It all spawned from the idea that uh, OCD is used loosely, right? It's like anxiety, or like people are like, "Oh, I'm very OCD." Same with like, "Oh, I have the hiccups." Well, if you have hiccups that will not stop, really,
Mm.
like for days on end, then it could be a sign of a heart problem or something more serious. The same as if you have anxiety that just won't stop, keeps getting bigger, and OCD, and you're not able to go to any gas stations or, that
Mm,
level, or you're not able to enjoy a relationship that's otherwise good. Um,
mhm.
then then it's like that the hiccups have taken over your mind. So they're like hiccups of the mind. All right, to this the snippet.
I stumble in, make a joke, say hello to a face, play hard, work late, short break, it's a race. You laugh, but only half. You smile, it's pretend. Oh, it's pretend. Leave your doubts behind. Swallow your hiccups, hiccuping mind. You need to give up being aligned. No need to break up, break down and run. When we can make up and wake up, back at square one.
That was great. I loved it.
Oh, cool. Thank you. So yeah, the main idea is swallow your hiccups, hiccup in mind. You need to give up being aligned, being like you were saying, equal and
Uh,
perfect and symmetrical. No need to break up, break down and run. Like just go to sleep, wake up,
yeah.
or
Mm.
yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
No, I love that metaphor of the hiccups just because I like that it's just such a good explanation because it's involuntary. It's something you can't control. Um, and it's something that like you said keeps going on and on and on. And if it goes on and on and on and on, it can become a real problem. But I like the in the lyrics like it's like almost like rising above it and trying to like look at it from like an outside perspective of you can get beyond it and you can get past it. It's pretend, it's of your mind, it's of your making.
Mhm.
It's not real. Like trying to like it's like I have a hard time between like reassurance and like trying to like get myself out of that cycle, but I do have to sometimes just be like, "Oh, this is OCD. This is what this is." And once you kind of realize that, then it makes it a little bit easier, I feel like, to come out of.
Yeah.
Um, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I kind of relate it to, I don't know if you've ever had a lucid dream where you're aware you're dreaming.
Mm,
Um, I've practiced a lot of that because I find the more you write down your dreams, the more you're
hmm
able to. When you're in a dream, if you even think like this might be a dream, it probably
hmm
is. Like
hmm
most of the time, and it's the same as like if you're having an episode and you're just spiraling, like this might be OCD. Oh, it probably is, and
Yeah, if when in doubt.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let it out. When in doubt, let out like the truth. But yeah,
Yep.
it's like the hiccups are happening. Like you said, they're involuntary. But
hmm
swallow them, let them in. Okay, they're happening.
hmm
Accept them. There's the word. That word is more about accepting. Like
hmm
swallow them, accept them, and then maybe they'll eventually go away. It's like a finger trap where it's the less you try to get
Exactly.
out so
hmm
nicely, the maybe the better luck you'll have. Uh,
Yeah, that makes me think of like in therapy. We used to, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm coming up with all these," and she's like, "Okay, let's play out worst case scenario. What
mm,
happens if this happens? If this happens, then what? If this, and then, she would be like, okay, so what, your door is unlocked. So what? Like somebody comes in. Okay, what are you gonna do? And like almost like talking it through the process is sometimes like helpful, if that
right.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. I've always been someone who kind of likes the worst case scenario talks
Yeah.
because other people are like, God, you're so dark. It's no, but it helps me be like,
Mm,
well, okay, if the plane goes down, because I have lots of plane fear. Like
mm,
if the pilot says, "Don't worry, there's turbulence, it's gonna be fine," then suddenly I'm like, "No, it's not gonna be fine." Because in movies, when you hear it's gonna be fine, it isn't fine. It's just, and then the brain tricks me to think, "No, now we're going down." It's like, well, worst case scenario, we go down. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Then I don't know. Then I don't know what
Right.
happened. I'm done. It's done.